Here we are. Hey guys, Yankee T News. Eric and I have an at, and we're hoping that our good buddies with Common Sense News and Entertainment with Jason will check in soon, and maybe we'll get a guest appearance from the mysterious, elusive figure known as DJ Ricky. I'm sure he did that movie.
Okay, so here we are. Um,
Right, and then we're taking on the day. So I'm gonna see. Do we got something here? All right, watch. Oh, so we're live. Good. All right, there you go. Hot damn. So
okay.
I got a note it's working. That's good. So where I would like to start. Now, did you listen? How many? Let's try it this way. How many of those pleadings of the fifth did you hear Dr. Fauci make?
Oh gosh. I lost count.
Okay. Do you remember the questions that Senator Hawley asked?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I know he gave him a good tongue lashing, but like before
Oh,
you
come
get
on.
into this,
Yeah. No. 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 This is too good. This is too good. So finally, Senator Hawley looks at Fauci and says, "What color is your tie?" And he says, "Under counsel, I plead the
right,
fifth. What color
right.
is the rug?" Under you plead,
Then
I got it.
then there was
My
this one.
God, was that so embarrassing?
Right. So then
Oh,
there was this one here. Do you remember this?
what's that?
Um,
Well, there's that. Yeah, right. I heard
yeah, you
that.
remember that one?
Yeah, but he asked to me the best question of the day after all these abusing the Fifth Amendment. Then Senator Moreno looks at him and says, "Dr. Fauci, can you tell me who created the Fifth Amendment?" And he
Right.
pleads the fifth. It's so stupid. I love
Yeah.
it.
You
Oh,
can't make this stuff
geez.
up.
Oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, they were having fun with him. That's what you get when you get a robot who likes to kill people. Yes, just
In,
saying.
indeed.
All right. So I'm kind of in the camp after all that. Yep, you got to go, buddy. You got to go to jail.
I totally agree.
I don't care if you're in your 80s. You know, the things you did to the people in this country are beyond what? I are we going to give him? Are we going to be merciful?
I that's a good question. I have no idea.
No, I just and and let's see, was it? I'm trying to remember who made the point about the money. Was it Senator Moreno who pointed out that he went and got all, or was it Johnson, Senator Johnson? One of them, making the point that he was chasing all these cash awards and he was getting uh, federal employees to devote their time to getting him awards for money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. There's a very clear federal laws about how that's an abuse. So forget it. End of discussion as far as I'm concerned. But it gets worse, right? It just gets worse. So here's the other form of worse to consider: that he was actually, quote, defending, protecting, running interference for Pfizer and Moderna. Okay, the point was, I mean, actually, I don't know why more people don't know about this, but we will bring it up. Are you aware, Eric, that there is a law concerning emergency use authorization by the FDA and CDC, which states that if there is some drug or vaccine that you wish to use on an emergency basis, if there exists some other medication already approved which will deal with the problem, then you do not get to have emergency use authorization for the vaccine, for Resdemivir. No, you can't have it because we already have these others. And what were they? Ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. Okay?
Right.
And we remember how Fauci absolutely trashed those drugs. Couldn't help himself. All right?
Yep.
So, so the best part, I don't know if you saw it, was the data that Senator Johnson put up, that big board, and he was showing the annual death rates from ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Remdesivir, the vaccine,
Remdesivir.
remdesivir, a couple other things. And you look at it, it's like it's a no-brainer. The thing that the ones that Fauci were pushing were the ones that were causing the highest death rates, and the ones that he was trashing were causing the lowest death rates. So whose side are you on? Okay, so this is going on, and it becomes kind of obvious that he's playing this game because Pfizer's going to benefit, and he, by unknown means, would also benefit by allowing the shot to be administered. It just, I mean, it is the ugliest form of conflict of interest that one could ever imagine. It defies explanation. So that's just me. Okay, so anyway, all right. So there's that. I just want to. I got to. Wait. Let's see. Hold it. I missed it. Is Jason bowing out again? I hate to say it, but this was his idea. Okay. No, not that one. Here we go again. Come on. No, not that one. Not that one. All right. So I got to give him a call and see what his excuse is.
Well, we're live.
Yes. Well, sure. Why? I mean, don't tell me you have nothing to say. Let's talk about Alex.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
for
you know,
President Trump.
that's debatable.
This was what? Okay.
Powered by Riverside.
Okay, that is good. Problems. All right. So so I just saw this brief statement, from the article. We could probably pull it up. It's on. I think it was on Liberty Daily when you pulled up the screen.
Yeah, let me get that.
Hello.
What's going on, Jason?
Hey, how are you?
Okay. You're not coming on tonight?
I can't. I gotta work. I'm still working.
All right.
I can only do. I told you I can only do Friday, Saturday, and maybe Thursday sometimes. I can't do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday anymore.
I see.
Just too
Okay.
busy. I'm just too tired today. I've got another half an hour worth of work to do here, and then I gotta go to freaking go to bed. I've been up.
But we love you, Jason, and this is Connecticut Common Sense News and
I
Entertainment.
warn you guys every day. Don't forget.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess.
Well, Connecticut Common Sense News and Entertainment will be with us soon.
Yeah. Well, soon will be tomorrow. Okay. So look at all these cool headlines here. Now, I think you have to scroll down for the one with, or maybe it was on Citizen Free Press here. Let me.
I could look at that.
Which one are you looking at? All right, I'll look at. While you're doing that, I can do Citizen.
Well, here, I'll bring up Citizen Free Press.
All right. Military. Oh, wait, there it is, right there.
Where?
You've looked for Alex Jones's name. Yep, there it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is insane.
Hold on, I gotta.
Yes. Okay, so, and as we look, if we were to scan through the article, you see that all right, part one. Let's just do a quick rewind on this. Okay, there was discussion in March about the possibility of, as they said, boots on the ground. And then by May, it was about an invasion, okay? And then there's been back and forth about whether or not that was a feasible idea. And then, we heard about the two ships with 5,000 Marines on each? Or I think it was 2,500 roughly on each, total 5,000.
Right.
Getting in position. And that's the last we heard of them, but we're told that they're still out there. And then we began to hear rumors of, what should we say, training for invasion. And supposedly other divisions are being brought in anticipation. So the latest number that some people are throwing around, unconfirmed, is around 50,000 U.S. troops for purposes of invasion. Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, a country that big, 50,000 troops will be a drop in the bucket. That would not be enough. And
I mean, like, you know,
yeah.
that just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, let us just acknowledge that the military know what they're doing, and they're not going to act foolishly. And I think that President Trump, for all his bluster, is still very concerned about casualties. So he would be not be pleased with any kind of action that would endanger a lot of people's lives. If there is option 1 or 2, and the one that produces less life is there, he's going to take that one first. That would sort of be his.
Yeah, I mean, one of two things is possible and whatever. I mean, which is something that kind of wafts in and out of my, you know, the corridors of my mind from time to time. But I don't. Part of me thinks that we're not seeing or being told everything that's actually happening or going
That's a
on.
given. So this is why we sit here and conjecture, infer, confabulate. I like confabulate.
Yeah, there's a word for you. Yeah.
Yes. In search of what would likely be the truth. So, all right, again, it's like there are these elusive shadows. They hide behind these buildings, and maybe they're buried in certain articles, and then people put up misinformation to mislead us, and all the other things that are going on. And somehow, in the middle of all, and then, all right, for example, the other night I was complaining about how President Trump seems to avoid acknowledging or talking about any of the, quote, bad news. The one exception might be when people were saying, oh, President Trump got really pissed off at this surprise attack that the Iranians launched.
Well, you know, I was watching a podcast earlier today, and they were sort of making the commentary that he doesn't seem to be capable of owning or taking any responsibility for, you know, a lot of the screw ups and stuff, or he just like.
Okay, yes. I mean, yes, I think, you know, from his days in real estate, I think he's always taken the position, and many people do, that I mean, maybe in behind the scenes, you'll own your mistakes and deal with them, but not in front of a camera, okay? And you're going to let your critics, you know, go at you, and you're not going to bend to that. All right. So all of this said, one of the other strange things here, and I think this example I'm about to give is just one more case of how this conflict is expanding. On the one hand, all right, what was the surprise attack? Now I get confused because we've had attacks by the Iranians after bases in Jordan and in Iraq, okay? Both countries. So we've got
Right.
American forces in both countries, no surprise there. But then out comes the news that we launched attacks against Iranian-backed guerrillas in Iraq. What? Iranian-backed guerrillas in Iraq? What are they doing there? Something is not right with this picture. Okay, part of it is, yes, American forces are still in Iraq, just saying, okay? And there's another game that's being played, all right? Now, this is a shift, but not a shift. Did you hear about the billion-dollar deal being struck with the Kurds?
I did not.
Yes. So here, all right, let me back that up a little bit more. There are 3 parts to this. Part 1 was the announcement when ConocoPhillips came out and said that it is going to do a development deal in northern Iraq. Did you ever hear that one? They're taking like a 40%, I mean, like they normally do, to spread the risk. Oil companies will split a project with other oil companies. So 40% were ConocoPhillips. I don't know who the other 60% is, but it's being done in northern Iraq, AKA Kurdistan, what would be really Kurdistan, even though they don't want to call it that. Okay, that's part 1. Part 2, here comes the announcement that, I hope I've got this right, It's some unbelievable number. So President Trump announces that they're going to do all these deals, oil and other economic development projects with Iraq. And all right, maybe I got it wrong, but I heard over 40 different deals with the Iraqi government. Okay, so if there's any case where America's kind of sinking its hooks economically into Iraq, there it is, baby. So then the third thing is this thing I just mentioned, where sitting down with the Kurds saying, baby, we're going to do a deal with you. All right. So the Iraqi government is not pleased because this is a deal that's being done directly with those people that make up what we'll call the Kurdish government, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as a result, the Kurdish government now all of a sudden is going to find itself getting a lot of money. A lot of money. Wow. All right, that's going to put a dent in the Iraqi government. That's going to really kind of redefine the relationship between the Kurds and the Iraqi government. It gets interesting. Okay, so this is very curious to me, right? You have Iran trying to attack. Meantime, you have Trump and others pushing in with economic deals into Iraq, neighboring with Iran. So I guess the belief is if we can curry favor with the Iraqis by doing all these economic deals, this is going to weaken the influence of Iran. That may be true. We'll see. Meantime, our good buddies in Beijing, yeah, we can always count on them. So part one was an open admission of what they've been doing all along, which is sending Chinese personnel into Iran. That would be Chinese military personnel to help run the missiles. Probably helping with assembly too, because the Chinese are sending components and stuff. All right, so there's that. And then now in the news, it was right there, I think, when you pulled up the Liberty Daily thing, the top story, right?
Right.
The man pads. So the talk is that China's going to send Iraq 400 man pads, those man-launched missiles.
Right.
I would be pissed. If I was Trump, I'd be very, very, very pissed. And so pissed, I would be looking for some ways to get back at them big time. That's kind of the way I would look at it.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yep.
All right. So, so all of this, once again, I just have to say, and I haven't even touched on the other stuff I've been reading about, the picture you see is this increasingly intense, swirling mass of conflict that's dragging more and more countries into the vortex. That's how I see it. And I think you'd agree.
Yep.
All right.
That, and to some extent, yeah.
And we aren't even talking. All right. So now, then, before I get back to the other point, already Bahrain has launched attacks against Iran.
Really?
Yes. Not many, but some. But they're getting started. They're warming up. And mind you, these are not missiles. These are fighter planes. So Bahraini pilots? I haven't heard of any Bahraini fighter pilots. Have you? No. Well, what the hell's going on here? Well, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. We're training them.
Right.
We're militarizing the whole region. What a thought, okay?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, the Saudi Air Force was a running joke, okay? The notion that these pampered princes of Saudi Arabia would actually learn how to be fighting men, we're not buying it, okay? But now the challenge is before them because Saudi Arabia is Iran is going to keep attacking them, as far as I can tell.
Right.
Okay, so now the scale of conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran will go from occasionally trading punches with missiles to the Saudi Air Force flying bombing runs into Iran. Isn't that what they call escalation, right?
Yeah.
You're
For
fighting
real.
in more ways, right? Causing more destruction, etc. Okay, so I would have to say, in some weird kind of way, this is what's the word I'm looking for? Pre, what is it? Not pre, a preview. That's the word I think I'm looking for. A preview for when, yes, we actually do launch the American invasion. Okay, now I don't know what the source is. Somebody said it was Israeli. I don't know who to believe, but there was a map put up of Iran, and what you saw in the Persian Gulf, along the coastline for Iran, it was dotted with a lot of American flags, signifying that this is where America would invade. The idea that there's going to be a full-scale invasion along the coastline that runs hundreds of miles, no, 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 I don't think so. So that's kind of a goofy image. Meantime, up in the northwest part, you had this sort of these yellow lines, like, they would, I don't know how to explain it, individual lines showing different places where the fighting forces would invade from Israel into Iran. Really? Well, let me think. Who's got the bigger army here? Let's see. Iran, 92 million people. Israel, 10 million people. I don't know. Who do you think has the bigger military?
Good question.
Okay, so I think there's something wrong with that picture. But somebody had to put that up to start suggesting to people, coming attraction, guys. And all, okay, by the way, let's just state the other obvious thing. With all the information we're getting, okay, with all the people watching, enemies, disinterested parties, friends, okay, they're all watching. Do you really think you can hide an imminent invasion? I don't think so. Not anything of any particularly significant scale. There'll be some announcement. Iran will squawk and say, look, satellite intelligence from the Russians show the Americans are gathering to attack Kharg Island. Look, here, we got the photo proof right here. Can we just say it's an effed up situation? No, look, the Americans know this. This is not a surprise. Okay, so you're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into figuring out how you're going to do an invasion and fool people. Now, did I show you? Yeah, no, you would have listened to it. So Monday night, right, when I went through the op-ed piece about the horror of merging wars, right? Because when the Ukrainians attacked the Iranian ship in the Caspian Sea, apparently two ships were attacked. A Russian ship and an Iranian ship were attacked in the Caspian Sea. First time? First time.
Wow.
Again, more evidence that it's proliferating. And Steve Bannon was particularly concerned, not just him, but Jack Posobiec as well. This information they saw as very concerning because, let's see here, the way I would characterize this is, do I have, oh, I can't do it from here, darn it. If we were to look at a map, if you remember, we put up the map of the Caspian Sea, and to the north you had Russia, and then if you went a little bit further northwest, you had Ukraine, right? And then the southern part of the Caspian Sea was Iran. So there's a common body of water shared between Russia and Iran. So it makes it very easy to ship stuff back and forth. And so that's been kind of, it's like, call it Russia's pond, if you will. So the thing that's curious, just to say it, is that first of all, you had Sevastopol, right? That's the Russian naval port in Crimea. And for all intents and purposes, over the last couple of years, the Ukrainians have managed to chase the Russian Navy out of there, right? With this, when they started launching those sea drones, blowing up Russian ships, they started to pull back. So they had to go pull back to some other area. I don't know, it was near or in the Black Sea, okay? Further back, I don't remember the name of the port, but then they started attacking that port. So now they have to start pulling back even further. Well, guess what's left? The Caspian Sea. You got the Azov Sea, and then after that, you got the Caspian Sea. So
interesting.
What we're seeing here is that the Ukrainians are managing to keep pushing their range of attacks further and further east, okay? into these bodies of water where the Russians think they're safe, and they're finding out they're not.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I just feel so far removed from that entire situation that,
Okay,
I mean,
well, it's
you
going to
know,
affect us.
I don't.
Going to affect us.
Well, for sure, for sure. Meanwhile, have you seen this? What I got up on the screen there?
Leaving the old system behind. The time is fast approaching for Trump to use executive emergency power to declare national security emergency, take control. Yes. The time is fast approaching. I agree. So what else have we got to say about this? Okay, the stuff about New York City. We talked about that the other night, right? Okay,
Yeah.
where
Well,
10% of the votes for Mandami
I heard
were for people who
14%.
live outside of New York City.
Right.
Excuse me. That's unacceptable. Okay, that's fraudulent. So yes, and so I mean, you take that, okay, plus we're not through yet, right? We are not through yet with respect to the disclosures about what China has been doing with the election information they have in this country. And I'll drop what I think is a hint. The hint I want to drop is China. Oh, wait a second. What's going? Oh no, what's happening here? Oh, China's doing something. Oh no. Oh wait. And wait, the Fulton County Board of Elections in Georgia. Oh no, they've been working together. Oh my God.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So look, if as I expect, when that becomes public, there damn well better be an executive order declaring a national security emergency over our elections. Damn well better be.
Yeah, I'm not holding out. I'm not going to hold my breath based on the
Pass the
disposal
ball.
of events that have,
Yeah. Okay.
you know.
But I mean, things like this. Yeah, yeah. I'm just going to default to the old saying, Eric. The old saying.
That would be,
The wheels of justice grind
yeah, slow.
slow but fine. And the thing is, at least I think I hear the wheels turning. I hear a creaking noise when it comes to justice. I just don't know what kind of grinding is going on. Maybe we need to hear some screaming that goes with the grinding. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yes. So anyway, so the net effect is it's getting worse. It's getting bigger. And I guess the notion is at some point it's going to have a step function, it's going to suddenly jump up. And that suddenly jump up has got to be the invasion. All right, but anyway, I want to go back to the points I made earlier on Monday. What I call the design principles for a ground invasion. Do you remember what General MacArthur did in North Korea? Incheon, I-N-C-H-O-N.
That I don't recall.
Okay. Boy, you got some reading to do. You got a whole lot of history to catch up on here. My goodness.
Yeah, my like World War One and World War Two
This is the Korean
history
War.
is
Korean
hazy.
War,
Well,
okay.
even that, and my dad was in that war actually.
Okay. Yes. So, Incheon. The problem was that we needed to invade North Korea, and General MacArthur was looking around at the coastline there and said, "Gee, goddamn, look at that! There's a nice big flat piece of land. Now the tide might move a little quickly, but I think that'd be just the place to put an invasion because, gee, look at that! There's no North Koreans to speak of around. It's lightly defended. I guess that's where we're going to land." That's called hit them where they ain't. Hit them where they ain't. Okay? You know, it's a truism in military strategy. You cannot defend everything. You're going to have to make your choices. Okay? The D-Day invasion in Normandy would have been another example of hit them where they ain't.
Sure.
Although even that was an uncertain proposition. You know, I would say in retrospect, when we look at that, there was a critical moment where I don't know if it was Hitler or one of his generals, had the opportunity to send a panzer division to attack the invasion. If they had done that, woohoo, life would have been a whole lot more complicated. But for various reasons, they didn't do it. Okay, so
Interesting.
stuff like that. All right, so big country. So that means there are going to be a lot of places in Iran that are lightly defended. But then the question is, are there lightly defended areas which would be of strategic importance? Okay. Now, again, just because you all right, in my mind, all right, two parts. Keep in mind that the military component, the military organization for Iran is a little complex. Okay, to review, the two main military units are the IRGC, right? And the group called Artesh. Artesh, so this is the weird thing. When Khomeini came to town in the early 80s, he did not get rid of the Shah's army. They kept the Shah's army. But they knew they couldn't trust the Shah's army. So they had to create their own army that we know lovingly by the name the IRGC. So in round numbers, I mean, these numbers are incorrect, forgive me, but in round numbers, the IRGC has 500,000 active personnel. There might be 500,000 reserves, a little less. And then the Artesh active duty component is bigger than the IRGC, okay? But they are more poorly funded and more poorly trained, but there they are nonetheless. Now, when you start to, and the country is organized into 31 districts, just like we would be organized into states, they have districts. So theoretically, their military would be divided between these districts. Okay, well, now if you're thinking in terms of districts, the number of troops that you have to worry about in any particular area kind of goes down. So our military intelligence is supposedly assessing the strengths and weaknesses of all components of the Iranian military in order to decide, where's the best place to attack. And also, you know what? Let me throw this out there. I'm of the opinion that all this talk about Pickaxe Mountain, what a name, is just a shiny object to divert people's attention.
Could be. So, can we segue into domestic? We have we're about halfway through the show.
Sure. Yes.
Right. So,
What domestic things are on your mind this evening, Eric?
well, I mean, for example, the Connecticut gubernatorial race and the midterms.
Yeah.
Was it Chris Shea was on earlier? I guess, and DeBarros had uploaded the exchange with Gary Byron. Chris Shea was a guest on the Gary Byron show, and he was sort of intimating why he didn't want to debate, which is kind of the same thing like Aaron Stewart didn't want to debate.
Right.
I don't understand why these people, and particularly Republicans, run from debates. I mean, is your ego or your position more important than actually representing? And the interesting caveat to that exchange was one of the a woman caller, called into the show, and it's like, let the voters decide who they want representing them. Right. I don't understand. One of the things I can't abide by, and I hate repeating this ad nauseum, but like the idea about Ben Proto putting his finger on the scales, deciding, who's going to be the heir apparent with respect. Say again?
He's too late. He's already put the finger on the scale.
Well, right. But when are people going to say, like, enough is enough, And I don't. And part of the problem I have too is Ryan Fazio has sort of been incommunicado about that whole situation, and I think this is just another case of I don't want to upset the apple cart or the powers that be, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and this sort of speaks to the whole point about who has gravitas and who doesn't, who has a backbone and who doesn't. And I think these are the things that um, Jonathan DeBarros is, calling to attention, to his credit, actually. And so that's my whole thing about that. And
Right. Well, what I would add to that is that the Republican Party, for the longest time, do you remember Jack Davis?
I don't.
Yeah. So I'll just say he's part of a class. It's the Republican consulting class, and this is a class that needs to go away. They have done more to get Republicans to lose elections than anybody else I can think of, and their one of their operating principles is to avoid controversy. Have a big smile on your face. Be positive, etc.
Yeah, it's a yawn fest. I mean, that kind of stuff is just a yawn fest.
Yep.
I mean, they won't even pretend to be adversarial, which is
And that's exactly what he's doing. So all he's doing is following the advice of these stupid political consultants who have never won any elections.
right.
So,
Let's just sit around the campfire and play kumbaya and be all nicey nice to one another, sort of thing.
all right. So all that said, all right. Right
I'd
now,
like to see if there's any updates or information on
Yeah.
Betsy McCoy's lawsuit against the state of New York
yeah,
with respect
I
to
think
the pipeline. Is there any
last-
updates on that?
yeah, what I heard was that, she had, by the way, okay, first, she had floated the idea of the lawsuit, okay, and she had, I think, gone before a judge, but the judge looked at Betsy and said, "Dear, you may have a point, but you know what it takes to prepare a lawsuit, right?" Yes, and so that's where she is at now. So she has to line up the lawyers, build the case, get the evidence, get the witnesses, get the records, get whatever it is needed. It is an arduous process, and it costs money. So I think she's kind of at the edge of this thing, sitting here going, "Well, what am I going to
Well,
do?"
and this is something that the state of Connecticut should be doing, or our representatives should be
Yeah.
doing
Well,
on behalf of the residents of the state of Connecticut. Why should a private citizen be expending their resources to go after something that should be,
okay.
for all intents and
All right,
purposes,
for what we're
the
seeing, yeah. How many times has this been repeated? Okay, and there was somebody else who was I think it was Fazio, who started to point out the same thing about the need to challenge the state of New York, but there was something else too. I just don't remember.
Well, right, but a day late and a dollar short. I mean, this should have been one of his central campaign messages.
Yeah.
Entering into the race, and all of his public sort of addresses have been reactionary to what Lamont is doing or has done.
On the word reactionary, maybe you'd like to find another word, reactive, or just
Reactionary is fine. I'm okay with it.
reactionary has a very definite sort of communistic meaning. Okay, reactionaries are people who are considered like backwards, right, and they're not willing to consider new ideas, etc. That would be a definition of reactionary. All-knowing internet hard at work here.
Right. So, in popular usage, reactionary refers to a strong traditionalist conservative political perspective of a person opposed to social political.
But Karl Marx used it as a pejorative, as an insult.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I stand corrected. Maybe that isn't the best word choice.
Okay, but to go back, the point is you're just saying that Fazio really is not putting forth his own arguments, his own perspective. He's just reacting
Thank you.
to Lamont. That's it.
Correct.
And you're right. It's just What's the matter with you people? What's the matter with you, Ryan? It's your consultants, all right? We're going around.
Yeah, or his campaign manager or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, yeah, it could be her too. I don't know.
I just like,
Yes,
it's like, where's the piss and vinegar? You know?
not there. Since when have we ever seen Ryan Fazio angry, by the way? Never.
Yeah, when he does, um,
Yes.
I guess the few times that I've seen him, like, it's like it's almost, I hate to say this to sound disingenuous. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just, to me, it looks like faux outrage, you know?
Okay. Sure. All right.
The finger wagging
How
and all
about
that kind
right,
of stuff.
less Clark Kent and more Superman, please?
Thank you. Yeah. Um, or maybe like where's Batman, really?
Not here. But on a different note, although you can never trust these things, did you hear the latest polls in New York State between, is it Blake or Blakeman, who's the Republican candidate for governor, running against Hochul?
No.
A 4-point difference.
Wow.
Okay, that's within the margin of error.
Wild.
So again, I mean, if I dare to dream, if the problems that we have discovered with the vote that went on for Mondami gain any traction, this is going to force a cleaning of the voter rolls. And if that happens, yeah, there's a good chance Hochul will lose. Just saying.
Sure.
Yes, I like it. We'll have to see.
Indeed.
Right. Okay. So there's that domestic item. Ensley. What was his name? Ensley Mizo. Just to bring him up. I unfortunately, or we, have a long history with the 148th State Representative District in Stamford. So there's been like a succession. For us, it was Wilm when he last ran, whatever that was, 2014, 2016. And, or was it 2018?
No. It was like 2018, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time. Okay. Could have been 2020? No.
It was somewhere around there.
Yeah. Well, you know
I
what?
mean, and he was like, what, 88?
When was the so-called Summer of Love in Minnesota? Was that 2020?
Yeah, 20. Yeah, exactly.
All right, then it was 2020.
Wow. It was during
Barr was
COVID?
right.
Dan Fox. He was running against Dan Fox.
Right. Yes. Well, Dan has since moved on, and I don't remember who the representative is now. But in any event, so there was that woman who worked at the diner, and you worked with her. I forget. Was it Olga? Was that her name? Remember, you did some videos for her.
Oh, yeah, Anastos, the one who owns Curly's Diner. Sure.
Right. So there was her, and since her, I don't know what but so in this election cycle, now we have this guy named Ensley Mizo or Maizo, something. Yeah. So there we are.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that local politics. What is the other thing? I just want to mention this because it's peculiar. This is more out our way. So over in Madison, there's a woman I hope to get to know. Her name is Lisa Dean. She's running for state senator out of Madison. And just to put this in context, Madison is the stomping grounds for a certain individual who ran twice for governor. Does the name come to mind? Stefanowski.
Bob. Sure.
Yeah. So he's in Madison. And his wife, still kind of lords it over the local RTC, but this woman, Lisa Dean's a part of it. Now, and I know that Mr. Stefanowski was another example of somebody who was lacking in some of that piss.
Well, right. When I saw the debates, or what little I saw of the debates, I mean, it's like, and I read some of his policies, it's like, Lamont versus Lamont Light. It's like, what's the difference between these two? There was no real line of demarcation between their policies at all. One was just a softer version of the other.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what I feel like what we're going to get with, in the event Ryan becomes governor. He's going to, I think, capitulate. I mean, they're probably hammer out some deals, capitulating again to the Democrats, and it's just going to be this status quo uh, administration. But even with that, Carl Higbee, I think you were there up at the Cadillac Ranch when Carl Higbee was talking about, well, Lamont is not as like insane as many of his
Oh,
colleagues,
that's right. Yes, I remember that.
and yet, I mean, he's just he's insane. He's just a little slower at being insane, I guess. That's probably the best way to put it.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I'll accept that as a given here. Part of the problem, again, we just have to face reality, and that is that the state House of Representatives continues to be the stomping grounds of the Democrats. I hate to say it. And the part that I'm having trouble with, I mean, God, I mean, with so many things, if I could just steal a little bit of time, yes, I would compile the information on the current races for state representative around the state. But I don't know if you heard, but I've heard that this is one of the worst turnouts for having Republican candidates. As many as 40 seats remain unchallenged. 40 seats where the Democrats have a shoe in. It's just, so how do you expect to do anything, get anywhere, if that's the best you can do?
Well, I mean, and that kind of speaks to the so-called leadership with
does.
the whole state central. You have nobody who's inspired and to run because of people like Ben Proto and because of this status quo, political climate here in the state. And the other component to that is you have a large cross section of people from your generation that are just idiots.
Excuse me?
Yes, that's very true. Have you
But
seen
which
all the
idiots might you be referring to?
the baby boomer generation?
Let's see, that's right. You are not a baby boomer.
I'm actually I was on the cusp, like at the very beginning of Gen X. So, right.
I know,
That so,
Proto,
but my
always
point my
Proto.
point is that these are the the never Trump, like just TDS people, that go out there waving flags on the street corners or over the bridges and stuff, and they're just idiots. They're just like idiots,
Yeah.
and this is the generation, I think. Some people have said, like, one of the most selfish generations that we've encountered, with respect to like holding on to the wealth and you know I don't know, there's a whole host of other pejorative terms that have been said about boomers, but anyway,
Okay.
but I guess going on to the point, and
Proto.
then you have
Yeah.
this the sort of the scholastic, or the the people coming out of Harvard and Yale and the millennial sort of generation, those people, and then yeah, I mean, it's just a disaster. It's like all of these people who are, and most of the institutions of so-called higher learning are all Marxist and liberal.
Well, you heard what Hegseth did, didn't you?
Well, talking about purging the military of all of the wokeism and stuff, or
Close. He has made it very clear that he will have nothing to do in the future with Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and instead, for any kind of officer training and development involving universities, they are going to be turning to the University of Virginia and other schools more south.
yeah, I mean, let's hope that yields some good results.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it will. I think the notion that these brand name universities are somehow still a source of academic or intellectual excellence, I think, is coming under more and more pressure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it to themselves, so they have no one else to blame, as far as that's concerned. But anyway, so I also wanted to say something about the good Dr. Michael Goldstein.
Sure.
Have you been following his stuff at all?
I haven't. As I've intimated, and I will continue to repeat myself, I am have become increasingly less interested in politics.
Yet here we talk
As
about it.
you know, I mean, in terms of being politically active, talking about it is one thing, but actually being actively involved with it is just not something I'm interested
Okay.
in doing anymore.
So, but for what it's worth, I am looking at Michael, and I see him as a work in progress. He continues to improve in terms of how he's running his campaign.
Well, gosh, I mean, how many?
There's
I
still
don't, I don't,
time.
I don't like to be like, a stick in the mud, but geez, the guy has run how many times now? Like 4 times?
I think this might be his, well, for Congress, I think this is his third.
Right.
And then these other stints we were trying
I
to
think
get
his
on.
son is running for a seat,
Yes, 149th district.
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, politics, it's spreading in the family. So it'll be an interesting combination. Um, but I'm going to say it, by the way, and yes, so we can point to Jonathan as part of the younger generation.
You mean,
Um,
or yeah,
Jonathan
yeah,
Goldstein,
Jonathan.
yeah. So
Right.
if the comments he made before the CTRA at their meeting earlier this year are any indication, yeah, I'm tagging him as part of the future of the GOP in Connecticut.
Sure.
He
I'd
really
agree.
understands what's at
Well, I
stake.
actually called him.
He gets it.
I called him and I saw his like delivery and I was very impressed and
Yeah,
I told him I said I think you have a future in politics.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't
So,
agree. I there's some things that I don't really agree with, but I think he's a generally speaking a level-headed guy,
yeah,
you
I
know.
agree with that. And so, I mean, the other thing to think about is that he may be, I mean, because we could use more of them, that he may be another person who, like Rob Sampson, is able to punch above his weight.
Sure.
That would be very good.
You got to get like it's the coastal communities in this state that it's just like all the really nice affluent coastal community like go all the way up to Stonington. There's just a bunch of liberal fucking excuse me
Mhm.
Marxist idiots. You know,
Well, but there's another, see, here's, all right, I'm going to put it this way.
libtards. I
Yeah,
love that term, libtards.
yes, well, we got some conservatards too. The, the point I want to make here is I want to bring up again Lisa Dean, who out of Madison is running for state senator. So I learned today that she's been weighing, you're going to love this, she's been weighing running as a MAGA candidate,
Interesting.
okay? And it's kind of like, to me, it's a no-brainer. To you, it would be a no-brainer. But she's reading the room and she's going, oh boy, I see too many rhinos. What am I going to do here? And then, then she makes the decision. That's it. I'm going for it. I'm MAGA.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. And part of it is that there is this, on the one hand, courtesy of the communist media that we have in this country. Oh, I'm sorry, liberal media.
Here's my take. Like I
Yeah,
don't
right.
mean to interject, but I just need to say I think anybody running for a Republican office is going to need to start distancing themselves from the MAGA.
I disagree.
Well,
I completely disagree.
I don't. I mean, I think America first, being a constitutionalist, that sort of thing. You know,
Okay,
if a person were honest, like Republicans were honest with
all right.
themselves, because many have come forward and said they
Okay,
don't agree with the trajectory that
all right. What
the
was that
current.
video you sent me?
Which one?
Matt Walsh.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, about as depressing as they come.
Well, is anything that he said untrue? Call it depressing, call it whatever you want. I don't really care. Is it true? If it's true, then that's speaking to the problem that is
Okay, and
endemic
what
in
was
the
my
country.
response? What was my response?
To what?
The video that you sent.
So what is your response?
Conservative media is growing. More people are pushing back. Okay. You have, there were a couple other points that I made, but the point is that while he's suggesting this parallel, which I agree with, by the way, between the condition of Russia in 1917 and how the Bolsheviks took over all these institutions, and we see a similar pattern happening now in America, fine. But there are some important exceptions. We have a robust, though small, conservative media. I'm including us in that here in America that's able to push back, and they've been doing it. We have, and also back then, poverty was far more extensive, okay? The way our economic system is structured now, people who would be considered middle class or lower are invested in the system with retirement programs and being in the stock market, okay? These are just a few of the things that would work against the model of Bolsheviks taking over America, okay? Plus, you have to remember, the libtard media does a good job of amplifying, and I'm going to say it, exaggerating the impact of people like Democrat socialists. It's their job. That's who they are. That's what they believe in. That's what they see as their true calling. So this is to be expected, okay? So it's a much more mixed picture. It's not as grim as he paints it. Those things are serious and they have to be dealt with. I'm not taking that away. But don't forget that we have weapons, we have means.
Sure. Well, I also think that this kind of comes back to what I would refer to as like a calling to, um, intimate Christian values in some way, shape, or form
Yes.
to a vast
Yeah,
audience.
and that's another thing. Right,
You know,
right. Okay, so I don't know how extensive, all right, you get again, we get a mixed message. So from 2000, let's put it this way, after 9/11, there was this huge surge of people going to church, and then it kind of tailed off, and now it seems to be surging again. And the place where it's surging is in the younger generation. Who knew? Okay, but
the
guess
remnant,
what?
the remnant.
Okay, so guess what? Propaganda for education in state-controlled schools ain't that effective, because kids, when they leave that whole thing and now they have to go out and deal with life, discover there's certain things in their lives that seem to be missing, such as a spiritual direction or a spiritual sense, a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. And since all they could do is talk about social justice, kind of missed something there.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know how, I'm sorry to say it, but with Charlie Kirk's assassination, this was another powerful surge for the Christian church. Okay, again, in the younger generation. So, no, it's not a fait accompli for these communist thugs. It is not. And yes, so you have these loud minorities, transgenderism, LGBTQ crap. They're going to keep going. Okay.
Yep.
Well, is this the what do you call it? Bumper music to fade on out?
Yep. We're going to be signing off, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here at Yankee T News.
You know what, Eric? I got a suggestion. Record one of your songs, please, and we'll use that as bumper music.
Well, okay. We can do that. But for the time being, we're going to go out with this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This has been Yankee T News Live with your host, Court Rutnowski.
Right.
I'm Eric, and we will come back at you again sometime tomorrow night.
All right. So, all right. So you're signing off. So I'm just going to wait for you.